Okay. You can hear me now, can't you? Hold on. Hold on. You try to stop us and we'll just come back on another one. All right, hold on. Tell me if you can hear me now.
Yes.
You guys got us now? Oh, wait a minute. That's a problem. All right. Can you guys hear us now? Unbelievable. Doing a sound check. Can you guys hear us? Ken, no hand signals. Talk to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is ridiculous. We're on our second laptop right here, okay? There's a laptop under a laptop. I was using Anthony's. We had no sound, okay? I'm going to have to start all over again. You guys are going to want to share this. This is good, and record this because this may disappear. So, this is Richie from Boston. We've already gone through this. I'm sitting in my room right here with Anthony Patch. We're between Watchmen, what would you call them? Sessions right now. And yesterday, I had a front row seat. I was using Brother Ken's Nikon P900, and I was recording Anthony. Anthony had a lot of great information. And while I was recording Anthony, if you go to anthonypatch.com, there's a Hear the Watchman's Conference tag. If you go to the Hear the Watchman's Conference tag, you can get a live stream ticket. So if you couldn't make it to Knoxville, you can actually watch the whole thing live stream downstairs with the seriously professional rig they have. Go ahead.
If you go through my website and you type in when you're purchasing the live stream ticket, you use my last name, Patch, P-A-T-C-H, you get a discount on the purchase price.
Which is awesome. We didn't do that because we didn't think of it. Okay, so anyways, you can watch everything that we saw yesterday. You can watch everything today. L.A. Marzulli was up there. Josh Tolley. Pastor Paul Begley's going to be up there. But you can't watch Anthony Patch. Crazy, right? No big deal. Somebody just unplugged the microphone. There was some sort of user error. The only problem with that theory is not only did they lose the live stream of just Anthony Patch, I was videotaping the entire thing. I uploaded it this morning. You guys probably have seen it or you're going to see it. The only thing is the most important thing that Anthony Patch has never said anyplace else except at Hear the Watchman conference yesterday, it's gone. How crazy is that? What do you think of that, Anthony?
Well, it's somewhat expected. My concern is for the conference organizers, the revenue that they lose from the live streaming to cover their costs.
Right.
This is a very expensive event. They're not making any money on this. In fact, right now they're losing money. So I really feel for them because they're looking at thousands of dollars in refunds that will be due from yesterday's purchases of live stream tickets. So,
wow,
you know, it doesn't bother me personally. It bothers me for the sake of people that are losing money because the agencies, let's say,
right,
don't want this information to go out in a larger audience.
And the thing is people go, oh, you know, it's a conspiracy-oriented genre, they tell us. But everybody watching knows this stuff is real. How come we're on our second laptop already? Actually, the laptop we started this live stream on was an even newer, better Lenovo model. We spoke to a guy that works here at the Marriott, and he said that they've never had security. We've got 24-hour armed security here for a conference of people talking about God. Imagine that. Welcome to America. We have security because God's in the house. I just find that insane. I got to ask, are you guys hearing us okay? Brother Ken's doing the microphone because I've never done a live interview. Good to go? Good to go. Okay, so Anthony, this has been phenomenal. I've had a chance to sit and talk with Anthony ad nauseum about a lot of stuff. His book, out of all the vendors, there's a lot of hard hitters here. LA's here, Josh Tolley, Paul Begley, the guy that was with, his name's Casper, he's a pastor. He actually had worked with the Shroud of Turin, which is phenomenal. That's a topic that I'm really interested in. But everybody's still got books. I mean, it's only the second day. Everybody's got books. Everybody's got their their wares that they're selling. You can get whatever you want, T-shirts or whatever. But there's only one person you can't get anything from because his books are already sold out. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. You do have one last copy here, and this is Brother Ken's Revising Reality. This book is already sold out in less. I mean, what's it? 24 hours since we found them, because of course they disappeared yesterday. So this is amazing. These are sold up, but can you still get these?
Sure, they're available through my website. It'll be an Amazon order.
All right.
Last time I looked, it was covering around 3 or 4 in the cosmology section, right next to Stephen Hawking.
That's phenomenal. I'm so glad to hear that. I am so glad to hear that, because this information is insane. We've had a chance to talk to people that they understand that get right with God. They understand about, preparing your house, preparing yourself, with wares, with physical things. But it seems like your topic is hitting people harder. And we saw that this morning. The guy just couldn't understand. He didn't understand. He understands there's a large machine on the other side of the planet. He understands that so many countries are in on it, and he understood the D wave. But what was it that you had to explain to him? Do you remember that? Am I going too far out?
Dimensions. Okay. Yeah, he didn't understand the concept of dimensions. He couldn't wrap his head around another dimension or multiple dimensions. And so we discussed that a little bit with him. But the basic idea that he asked for a takeaway, and I said, you have a machine now that generates the power that's capable of tearing open the hole between our reality and another reality, whether it's one or multiple. And we have a computer system made by D-Wave that is controlling the opening of that portal. And yesterday I went into an elaborate presentation on the quantum computer and its relationship with CERN, and advanced the model numbers for those computers. And I revealed what the model numbers are. And I'm not going to reveal right here, right now, what the model number is that I revealed yesterday. I think it's more important that you hear it in the context of the presentation so that you know what we truly believe was the information that caused all of the recordings by multiple cameras to be deleted remotely.
Insane.
Now, do you want to mention the drone?
First of all, we're working. This was just a spur of the moment type thing. I don't have a microphone here. We're going to try to do one later on where we might have a better camera set up. But save this video, share this video, and just turn it up. I know you can hear me. So last night we went outside. Last night I went outside. I was getting some video, which I did with Brother Ken's video camera again because it's awesome. Nikon P900. If you don't have one, get one because they're awesome. I was getting video of Venus setting over Knoxville, which was really cool. I happened to look up at the Big Dipper, and that's the side of the hotel that Ken, Anthony, and a couple of other people were talking about the conference. I look up in the sky, and I see a bright light that flashes a little bit more. Whatever, I know, it sounds crazy. And it just starts traveling away off into the distance. And after that, I discovered that all the video's gone, so forth and so on. So the stuff that Anthony has here is without a doubt something they don't want it to hear. They don't want people to hear. I mean, I don't understand why the live stream didn't work at first. I know my microphone on my laptop's weak. I hear that all the time, but it is what it is. It's all we got right now. We'll work on a better one for later.
So
but
this morning, we walked outside.
And it's a police station.
There's a police station
where the drone disappeared on me last night. In the dark, I couldn't see where it was. So I'm willing to bet that I can get video of this thing tonight while it's getting video of me. But yeah, we're heavily monitored here. It's crazy, and you can feel it today. You can definitely feel it. And the thing is Anthony, you're gonna re-give this entire speech again, the whole 2 hours with the question and answers again tomorrow, because the event and the organizers want you to do it again.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they lost 2.5 hours of live streaming. Who knows how many people signed up to get that live stream, and it's gone. I saw it. It was real. Brother Ken saw it. It was up. Totally gone. totally gone off of their cameras, totally gone off of my camera, except for the 48 minutes I put up this morning, and that wasn't even the groundbreaking thing. The thing that's missing is what Anthony's going to talk about tomorrow. So
Yeah,
it's insane. I'm excited.
They brought in a high-tech specialist last night to try to capture the data off the hard drive.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And they were up all night. And
they said till 3 o'clock, right? I didn't mean to.
No, that's okay. They couldn't reconstitute it. So we know that the drone came by and interfered with that.
How crazy
recording.
is that? How crazy is that?
This is getting pretty serious. Now, I was visited last night and recorded this by email to a number of people that there was a knock on the door at 1:30 in the morning. And then that was followed up by a visit by the night manager for the purported reason that a person was claiming that the room I was in was their room. It's pretty obvious that if my video disappears and then I'm awakened at 1:30 in the morning for some contrived reason, that they're just literally knocking on my door and they're just giving me the warnings. They're giving me the signals to shut up. I'm going to repeat what I said. If I'm alive tomorrow, God willing, I'm going to repeat what I had to say. And we're not doing this to hype up live streaming, to sell tickets, or any of that nonsense. This was apparent to everyone who's in attendance here. What happened? It was announced. The audio-visual guys with a very sophisticated setup with broadcast quality cameras recording the full 9 yards. And they apologized to the attendees. They didn't know what was causing the problem. And so it's not just Richie and me sitting here trying to hype this thing up.
No, not at all.
Everybody knows what has happened. I really urge people to watch the live stream event tomorrow so that you get the information that you can witness with and pass on to other people. The purpose of my being here and Richie here and the other speakers is to share information and to save souls. We are commanded by Scripture to save souls. This isn't about us. And you've heard me say that 100 times on the air, if not more. So my point in sharing with you today is that we're fully aware of the surveillance and the interference. I don't know what's going to happen when I leave the hotel tomorrow to fly back to my home. I know that God's protecting me. I know that because of the Holy Spirit, I have the full armor of God. But I'm also streetwise. I spent 27 years in Oakland working in the streets.
It shows, too. I dig Anthony back. Just saying.
So I'm aware of my surroundings and I'm aware of people and I'm aware that I'm at risk. But it's God's plan. And I'm in His hands and I will do His work as long as He wants me to do it. And it's clear that He wants me to repeat this information tomorrow and get it out. So.
It was. I'm not going to spill the beans. If we were able to capture it yesterday like we were supposed to have, like we would imagine, you guys would already know. But we'll get the information out to you tomorrow. It wouldn't be fair to the people that came here. You know what I mean? But again, the people that are doing the entire conference are giving Anthony an entire opportunity to set up all over again. We're going to set up a camera all over again, so we will get this for you one way or the other. But it sounds like, I mean, we can hear it. We've already talked about this off air. It sounds ridiculous, like a spy novel, but it's really happening. One thing, that happens. Two things, that's crazy. We're at like number 5 now, including the live stream not wanting to come up. Fortunately, we happen to have a backup laptop right there. So this is crazy.
We'll see what happens over the next few hours and what happens overnight and what happens tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time is when I will be presenting live. There's a delay for the live stream for the purpose of editing and things like that, but essentially it will be a live broadcast that you can watch tomorrow and you can get this information. I'll give you a hint. Quantum computers.
I bet you knew that was coming though, right? Unbelievable. It's a trip. It's a trip. This whole thing's been a trip. Me and brother Ken, we jumped in the Jeep. We drove 15 hours straight. It seemed like they kept moving Knoxville because as soon as I thought I was there, it still wasn't.
You've got to tell the story.
I don't have the story. There is an enormous, first of all, okay? Brother Ken, with a name like Brother Ken, you know he's not lying. He can attest to this. We make it out of Massachusetts. That's no big deal. You can do that. I've done it before. We stop at a Dunkin' Donuts in Connecticut, in Newtown, Connecticut, because, you know, I got to stop in and say hi because they like us. Ken goes in to grab me a coffee. I'm moving a few things around. The Jeep got started. And there's an enormous bear in the middle of Connecticut at a Dunkin' Donuts. I guess he was getting a coffee, or he was probably getting a bear claw. I don't know.
Get out of here.
But I walked within 6 feet of him because I'm not smart enough to know not to walk up to a giant black bear. But we got that on video. All right, anyway, so that's over. That's it. That's all said and done. Exactly like when I came back from West Virginia with those flood victims, when I got the video of the sky split in half, it started pouring out. Like, you know, as in the days of Noah type deal. Not exactly to that extent. The weather got so bad, there were certain points where we had to put the hazards on and slow down because I couldn't drive anymore. And the Jeep is a battle wagon. It's made for this stuff. It just seemed like everything was trying to slow us down. All of a sudden, from going from 300 miles to a tank full of gas, we went down to 100 and change. Literally, I had to fill up. Ken, how many times? 8 times? 8 times. A full gas tank, 21-gallon gas tank, 8 times, just to make it 1,000 miles. And then we finally roll into Knoxville, and traffic is all diverted at 3 in the morning because there's an enormous sinkhole that opened up.
Between the airport and the hotel.
How do you like them apples? How crazy is that? It just seems like the adversary's working. Sound like a preacher. One of my subscribers accused me of being a preacher. I'm not a preacher. I don't even at all. But holy cow. You know what I mean? It's just unbelievable time after time.
Okay, tonight we have the black moon.
Tonight we have the black moon, and Anthony's already been warned. I'm going to call that a warning. Somehow, whatever affected the live stream that killed any record that Anthony Patch spoke yesterday, it allowed me to videotape it, but took out the most important thing, and we were watching the camera. 64 gigabyte SD card, it was right there. It's gone. It's just gone. So that would be a warning to most people, but here we are again. Anthony is definitely not afraid. He's going right back up again. And like I said before I left, if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, we're doing it again tomorrow. So
We will do it.
the book sold out. We got 250 people watching. I apologize that this isn't a great production. We're in a Marriott right now in Knoxville, and it's a small room. We're going to do a better live stream later, or maybe tomorrow after Anthony does what he has to do. But if anything crazy goes on, we'll try to get it out to you right away.
We'd ask for your prayers.
Yeah, if you can. I asked you guys that originally. If you can send any prayers. It's crazy. You know, just the amount of things when I sit back, after just saying it. Run into storm. We haven't seen rain up north in the longest time. The entire way here.
Yeah.
It was pouring. Unbelievably. Then we get here and find out the roads are washed out and it's this huge sinkhole. So it's amazing. And I wouldn't want it to end any other way. So it is what it is. You know?
Should I tell the story about the gentleman sitting next to me?
Have at it. Have at it. Just make sure you speak up so they can hear you. Guys, if you can't hear him now, just turn it up because this is classic. Anthony Patch is better in real life than I would ever possibly imagine. He's one of the most accommodating gentlemen ever. Just to say. That's just me.
Well, thank you.
I'm not a fanboy either before that pops up in the comments. Go ahead.
I boarded the aircraft in the Southwest Airlines, and that's, random seating, not assigned. And so I took my seat in the aircraft, and we were told it was going to be a full flight. And I expected the middle seat to be occupied. Gentleman comes down towards me and probably 30 years old, nice kid. casually dressed, sits down in the aisle seat. I'm in the window seat. The plane fills up, with the exception of the middle seat next to myself and this kid. It's the only empty seat in the aircraft. He's very friendly, outgoing, shakes my hand, says, "Hey, I'm Tim. So Tim, if you're watching, I'm going to tell your story."
Nice.
Okay? So nice kid, and he started talking, about, background and sort of thing, and he told me that he was an electrical engineer. So I asked him a few questions about that, and knowing something about steered the conversation towards, what did you do your thesis on? And he said that he had compared Marconi's work on radio transmission with Tesla. And you guys know that I'm all about Tesla. So we sort of went back and forth with really me asking more questions than he asking me. And I really began to drill down into the nitty-gritty of electrical engineering. And I even got to the point where I finally had to ask him, what was your comparative analysis of the two researchers? Specifically, were you talking about the standardization of radio transmissions, amplitude and frequency? And at what voltages, DC or AC voltages? And I went a little deeper than that, but he told me, and he was probably only 4 or 5 years out of college, he said he could not remember the specifics as to the comparative analysis of Marconi's work to Tesla's.
Oh,
Now, I think you know where I'm going with this.
sounds well, for those that aren't catching it, it sounds like he was a plant.
He was definitely a plant.
Because how could you not remember those simple questions 4 years out of college, especially meeting someone that you know that if you bring this topic up, especially on a long flight, that's exactly what he's going to get. So he didn't do his homework, it sounds like.
No, he didn't.
Unbelievable.
He claimed to be a Christian, nice enough kid, but I don't believe his story.
That's crazy. And, I mean, that story combined with everything else, and, I mean, the day's not over yet. It's 4:30 out here in Knoxville, so.
We'll see.
And I don't want to be dramatic, but I warned, Brother Ken's new to this. I warned him that, you're in it now. How many times have I said, Brother Ken? There's no taking that back. They specifically warned us. They don't want this information out. And Anthony's doing it anyway. So I got to say, that's amazing. I'm going to ask that if you got any questions for Anthony, type them large so Brother Ken can see, and we'll try to answer them. You don't mind, do you?
No, it'd be great. I always like questions.
Let us know, Ken.
Yesterday,
It feels like we're in a movie studio or
I
something, right?
Yesterday we did an hour PowerPoint presentation.
It's phenomenal.
And I presented it as a graduate level presentation. So this was not going through the basics like I often do on interviews on YouTube.
Well, there's no time.
There's no time. We have to press on with the real deep facts of what's going on. And you guys know that I take everything from the laboratories, from the published journals. I take it straight out of science. I don't go to the science fiction. Right. And so we went through the graduate level on all of the topics, from D-Wave to CERN to DNA manipulation to the occult side to the symbolic to Saturn to the connecting of Saturn between the Large Hadron Collider and the planet itself.
And the Birkeland current.
And the Birkeland currents. We went through the whole thing very quickly, but we went into the deep keynotes or bullet points. I shouldn't say bullet points, should I?
At this point,
hollow points? Should I say hollow points?
Black talons, yeah.
Okay.
124 grain, 9 mil, whatever.
No problem. Sure.
I was able to see some of that. The PowerPoint that you put up, if you guys haven't watched the video I put up this morning, there's a lot of it in there, but the meat of it was gone. It's absolutely gone. So, but I was able to save a lot of the PowerPoint. You got a lot of good images up there. And the funny thing is, one sec, I'll grab the questions in 1 sec. Thank you, Ken. Yeah. I'm going to say the main thing that people in the audience, it was a packed house. It was an absolutely packed house.
We did an hour of question and answer. We went way beyond the time allotted, but people really want to know.
Well, the main thing that I noticed, the main thing people were worried about is the fact that the mark of the beast isn't something It's not something we're going to get. It's not something that's coming. It's not even the RFID chip that everybody has built their careers around. The RFID, don't take it, or you got the. It's coming out of the air. We're inhaling it. We've got it. And that seemed that seemed to be the main thing people were concerned about. And your answer was easy.
Yep. I'll try to break it down.
You did. You did. You definitely did. Full armor of God. And that's that. For the most part, right? I mean,
that's the answer. Is if you have the Holy Spirit, it protects and shields your DNA. Even though we have inhaled and absorbed and eaten nanoparticles, nanomachines, if you will, that will modify our DNA. That process, if you deny the mark of the beast, if you don't take it, the Holy Spirit, if you're indwelt by the Holy Spirit, will protect your DNA. And that's a big takeaway. It's a big walk away.
Well, people were hip to it a lot more than I would imagine. But Ken, what do you got?
All right.
Straight to Anthony.
Is your book available on Amazon's Kindle?
It will be by the end of October.
So your
Perhaps
book
a little bit sooner. We're working on that.
So your book will be available on Kindle by maybe the end of October.
Right.
Other than that, it's available through AnthonyPatch.com. I know that much, and it's.
I would suggest buying the hard copy.
Sold out. So 2 huge boxes yesterday. I helped them find them. They're gone already. Which is amazing. All right, what else you got?
But the hard copy, because of the move of the URLs offshore, we don't know what's going to happen with the internet.
Right.
If the internet goes down, at least you'll have a hard copy rather than a Kindle copy of the information.
Ah, see that?
These are the deep details. This is the deep stuff that we don't get a chance to talk about on YouTube because of this isn't time.
Right.
That's the purpose of the conference, is to give more details and even information that's never been discussed. But the deeper science is in this book, Revising Reality, and it's right there next to Stephen Hawking. That's in Cosmology on Amazon right now. It's only $21.95 for retail, and I autographed books here and sold them for $20, just so that there's transparency. But I'm not hawking books. I'm just saying, look, if you want the information, here's how you get it. Okay, that's as simple as that.
That's a great point, because I never would have thought of that. Hold on. What? No, I don't.
So, Anthony, if there's one thing from last night you want us to know, please tell us that one thing.
All right, so the question was, if there was one thing from last night that you want people to know, what would it be?
Well, the information that was censored will be repeated tomorrow, and it will be on the live stream. But the big takeaway I already gave you, and that's the Holy Spirit. It is accepting Christ as your Savior, taking on the Holy Spirit as that armor to protect your DNA so that you are not subject to the mark of the beast. You're given a choice. It's not going to be pushed on you, and you don't have a choice as to whether you want to allow your DNA to be modified by the nanoparticles. You're given that choice through free will. But the big takeaway is you have to turn to Christ now, because the time factor just isn't there.
Right, right.
Speaker after speaker at this conference has been reinforcing the same point. We're at the end point. This is no longer, it's just going to happen in a year or 2 years or 3 years or 10 years. So much is coalescing together now in technology and spirituality in this reality. And our reality is being revised, as my book outlines. There's no longer time to say, well, I'll make up my mind about whether to turn to Jesus Christ or not. I'll give it some more thought, some more time. And if you are already indwelt with the Holy Spirit, if there are people that you are concerned about, that you love, this is the time to go right here.
That's it. Pass it on.
Get right here, get real close, get right up in front, and get in their face and say, look, the evidence is there, the facts are there. You can no longer deny or ignore that we're in the end times. And these are the very last moments. And it is time for your loved ones to make that choice. They may not like you getting in their face about it, but if you care about their soul, this is the time to say, make the choice. Go to the light, go to the dark. There's no gray area. Simple as that.
It's funny. I don't know if you guys are noticing me kind of gazing out the window. It's not that Anthony bores me in any way at all. He's actually quite engaging. But as soon as you said Jesus Christ, a lone dove stood right there on that limb outside the window. So
that's a good sign.
That's got to be a good sign. So,
that's a good sign.
All right, Brother Ken asked me to, this is just a trip from the road trip. He asked me about the antique map. I have a habit when I hit the road is I don't use my phone. I don't GPS. I mean, it's Knoxville. How hard can it be? Go south. You'll eventually get to Tennessee. I think we were grabbing a coffee or something along those lines. And I was in the back of my Jeep and I had the atlas out and I was looking up, Route 81 coming down south. And some kid walks behind me with his buddy, and he's like, hey, that's an antique. I can hear him, but I don't care. I'm trying to read. I don't have my readers because I never have my readers. See, those are Oakleys. I'm trying to see the little map. And he made a point out of it 3-4 times, right?
Yeah.
Hey, that's an antique. And I'm like, I looked over and I said, yes. I thought me ignoring you was enough to, I heard you. It's cool, whatever. It amazes me how much people are just, hey, do you even know your parents' phone number off the top of your head or your friend's phone number? We have been so indoctrinated. Everything is electronic. My phone knows. Ask Google. Don't ask Google. Find out for yourself. You know what I mean? That's that. All right. What else do we got? What else do we got for questions, Ken?
So, when the mark of the beast comes, do you know what form it will take? Like the question that you need to answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the question is, so when the mark of the beast comes, do you know what form it will take?
I know that it's nanoparticles.
Right.
That are dormant and will be triggered by microwave.
Gwen towers, cell phone towers. When you say nanoparticles, you mean the stuff that's coming out of the back of the airplanes that we've been breathing in for years.
Yep.
That's nanoparticles.
Yep.
That is. Now, I think there's another YouTube channel, Nicholson 1968. Yeah, he's good.
He's on the ball.
He's been talking about this for years, and nobody would pay him any mind. The kid's right. Nicholson, 1968, and Anthony had a chance to do a live stream the other night, and they both came together, a kind of coalescence, as it were, and that's it. That would be the mark of the beast, and if you are not protected by the full armor of God, what you've been telling me,
then they'll throw the switch,
and you'll be susceptible, and then that's it, and there's no coming back.
That's right. And what I characterize the transformation of your DNA to be is what I call a third strand. We have 2 strands of DNA in the helical. A third strand will be added that will be grown from the nanoparticles. That will change our body and change our minds and change the way that we think.
And I think it was Nicholson's channel, his YouTube channel, that tied in that number we see all the time, 322, skull and bones. Every president, every secretary of state, they've all gone through this grooming secret society, and their secret number has always been 322. And we've always tried to, what does it mean? Is it the, plutonium, or what could it possibly mean? It turns out that actually does fit in with the third strand of DNA.
Yeah.
Nicholson has it right on there. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. You did,
I
right?
did. Yeah.
You agreed with it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good enough for me, because it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. These guys have known they were going to do this since before we were technically able to even understand DNA or anything.
Sure.
This has gone back thousands of years, like it's a secret plan.
Yeah.
Like it's a cosmic war.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
It's always been. You can't separate the spiritual from the physical.
At all.
And it is a supernatural fighting battle with spirits, spiritual entities.
Powers and principalities. It's on one of the first pages of the Bible.
You got it.
See that? I'm not a preacher. I don't even know what page it's on, so I feel like a jerk.
Doesn't matter.
Unbelievable.
So anyway, your prayers. That's what we really need more than anything.
Yeah.
Prayers for protection for all of us that are here, because it's not just me that's being targeted.
Well, I'm going to say you're the main feature, but I'm dumb enough to hang around you, so
No, you're not.
I'll take a hit for you at least once.
You're a brave soldier,
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
me. And we're both vets.
Yeah.
Quite a few years apart, but we're both vets.
It's not actually, yeah. The night that I said Nicholson was 68 and I was 67, people thought I was alluding to my age. I was born in 67, and Anthony's got like 4 years on me. 3 or 4.
Maybe. I'll be 63 in a couple of days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not a bad thing.
Anthony, personal example of an elephant.
That's him.
Sure.
I know that.
No, it's not. It's not. We talked about it last time.
Whatever. All right.
Well, I have several copies of the Bible, and 2 of them have been modified. And we've talked about the wineskins and the bottles.
Hold on. Yeah.
And that's probably the best one to go to, because there is no way in my reading the Bible consistently since age 16 when I was saved that I've ever seen bottles.
We talked about this the other night. So that right there would be in my opinion, the worst example, and I can't prove it, which is what's so insidious about this thing. In 1989, I would have been, because I'm so smart, I would have been 21 or 22, born in 67, whatever. I remember that the Tiananmen Square thing, the people were uprising against the Chinese government. The government lined up a column of tanks right in Tiananmen Square. A man stood in front of the tanks, and they crushed him. And it was a big deal. I asked my father about it the other day without a moment's notice. I said, hey, what happened to that guy? He said they crushed him because our mainstream media kept going over, because when a tank runs over a human, it's over. It's not like getting hit by a car. They crushed him. And now, if you look up that same thing, the guy actually goes over he climbs up onto the tank. And the tanks just stop and everybody's happy and nothing happens. That's not how China ran in 89. They were, communism's communism, but.
Yeah. There are many examples that the Mandela effect, if someone has not heard me speak about this topic, I call it quantum pollution. It is the bleeding through from other dimensions as an after effect of how D-Wave's quantum computers, adiabatic quantum computers, function. They are interdimensional. There's a video on my Urgent Discoveries tab at anthonypatch.com where there's a blue tab. You can link the video to Gordy Rose, founder of D-Wave, saying that they're accessing, in his example, 2 to the 500 parallel dimensions. And they are extracting resources, as he called it, resources, from these parallel dimensions. He described standing next to a D-Wave computer and hearing the pulse dilution refrigeration system pulsing once a second as though it sounds like a human heart, like a heartbeat. And he follows that up in a few moments by saying it's awe-inspiring standing next to one of these computers. It's like standing at the altar to an alien god.
And we just talked about that over lunch. Somebody that had something so breakthrough. Quantum computer is leaps and bounds, and that's an understatement, beyond the current technology that we have. It never existed at all. Someone so brilliant to come up out of the blue with something so dramatic that actually goes to other dimensions to get answers. Mm-hmm. They don't use terminology.
That's not
there is no progression.
Not a linear progression of development like Intel putting more transistors on a chip.
Making things smaller and smaller. They just decided, hey, let's make something, we'll electromagnetically shield it so that nothing can touch it from the outside. We're going to make it hundreds of times colder than outer space. And maybe it'll just access other dimensions. Because we do that all the time, you know, and it worked.
Right.
And it worked, and it worked, and it worked to the point where NSA has one. Google has one. NASA has one. Everybody has one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they're going to use that. CERN is using their Awake project to rip through the veil. Yep. The thing that separates us from all these things we've heard about. The giants, the minotaurs, the demons, all these disembodied spirits, the Nephilim spirits that had nowhere to go, blah, blah, blah. And D-Wave is going to manage the hole. Right. They're going to tear a hole, and D-Wave is going to keep it from getting too large or too small in their minds, I'm guessing.
Exactly.
And it's going to be like having a Holland tunnel of sorts.
And the question is, oftentimes, will CERN be successful? Will CERN and D-Wave be successful? Absolutely. Revelation 9 tells us that it will be successful.
Exactly.
And the point is it's very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
I mean, and the Awake project is already hooked up. They're already in preliminary testing already. They're just waiting for the certain little things they wait for, because everything is done with such. It's always on a harvest moon, equinox. It's always, these guys could have stayed strictly science. We talked about this ad nauseum. These guys could have stayed strictly science, but they don't. The Gothard Tunnel had CERN featured in it prominently several times. What in the world did that have to do with anything except telling the exact rise and fall? It featured Lucifer, symmetry. They completely showed CERN malfunctioning, breaking down, the guy falling through a portal, the salt circle in the middle, the black to white duality, everything. But it's just science, Anthony Patch. You're crazy.
Of course I'm crazy.
You know what I mean?
But they're the ones that are
exactly
the practitioners of the dark practices, the occulted practices. They're doing the rituals right in front of us. The Gothard Tunnel and Symmetry video were all rituals. It's all communicating with the other side. What does that have to do with the Big Bang Theory?
Right, right.
And they even talk about opening the portal openly.
Openly. I mean, it's people still like to try to discount that that's something that we made up. That's something that we're simply repeating what's been written without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah. You know, we're going to open a window. Something may come in. Something may go out.
We're not send sure. Something through,
that's
but
it.
We're not sure what's
That's
going
right. Yeah. That's right. You gotta remember, these are the same guys that go back to Oppenheimer when they first set things off. They weren't sure if it wasn't going to be a chain reaction. They were going to ignite the whole atmosphere, and they just said, well, let's see. And they did it anyway.
And Oppenheimer's famous YouTube clip that's out there, his quote,
yeah.
You know, I am become death.
Indeed.
Okay, this comes out of the Hindu practitioners.
Now,
this is why Shiva is Hindu, and it is at CERN. The whole string of that philosophy and that religion, that theology of Hindu practices, and the deities, and Ganesha, who's the offspring of Shiva. All of these Hindu practices have been from the beginning of nuclear warhead research all the way straight through. It's what led them to the discovery of the nuclear bomb. It's what has led them to the opening of the portal.
And it's amazing because if you look back on the whole thing with Jack Parsons, Aleister Crowley, all these guys, that whole entire thing was just riddled with occultism.
Absolutely.
Top to bottom, front to back. We never even heard of UFOs. Up until that point, well, I mean, I'm talking within a few decades, but up until that point, it was always angels and demons in grand statues, wood carvings, brass, drawings, hieroglyphics,
even
everything. Every one of them. And all of a sudden, those things turned into gray aliens. They're smart. They're friendly. They're cute.
Yeah.
E.T. Sure. You know, they somehow managed to make everybody.
Bring that up because disclosure's coming.
Indeed.
Very, very soon. All you have to do is monitor Hollywood, and you'll know how close we are to disclosure. And that is all a grand deception. It is there to explain the disappearance of people. If you want to call it the rapture, that's great. But the disclosure ties in to the timing of the rapture. They don't know the exact day or hour, but they're in the season. They know. Whether you want to believe the concept of the rapture or not is irrelevant. The point is, they believe in it. I believe in the rapture. I'm pre-trib. I believe they're waiting for the rapture to trigger, to remove the restrainer. That's what is the big issue here as to why haven't they thrown the switch to change our DNA? Why have they not opened this portal already? They have everything in place to do it.
Right.
But they're being restrained by the Holy Spirit. And once the restrainer is removed, then they all get to, you know, it's basically like a football game. Dog pile. They all get to jump on the ball and the guy holding it. It's going to be a dog pile in the middle of the football field. Once the restrainer is gone, all of this technology and all of this spirituality being targeted at one point.
There's a reason. There's a reason why CERN and CERN-like machines show up in every single big dollar superhero movie. There's always a Birkeland current. There's always a cube. The symbolism, everything is there. And we talked about this a few minutes over lunch. Do you think according to the Georgia Guidestones, they don't want us here. They're done with us. They've got AI. They've got all that stuff. They've got monkeys training armies of AI robots.
Thanks to Google.
That's for real. That's not me. I think they want to keep the children for some reason.
I agree.
The 500 million surf class, and that's why they're teaching them Common Core, which is 2 + 2 = whatever makes you feel okay.
Right.
Doesn't have to be 4. It's whatever.
Trophy.
You know what I mean? Does that make any sense to you?
It does.
I mean, this is purely speculation. This
Sure.
is Anthony Patch's opinion, but
Yeah,
I value it. So
it is speculation. But when we look at pedophilia and the advent of that,
right.
and we look at the targeting of children at a very young age, not just the pedophilia, but in the education system, the indoctrination that's taking place, the rewriting of history, and the rewriting of science with the young generation that's alive right now, for the purpose of them becoming those slaves, that serf class, as you said, of 500 million that will remain here. The rest, the adult population, are going to be eliminated. They're going to be killed off. So that's really the prospect of the future, and that's why I keep saying we need to go to Jesus Christ, because you don't want to be here.
No, they're making it obvious too. I mean, just for instance, the other day, Canada, the entire country of Canada bans American pit bull terriers. My girlfriend has a pit bull. I've had them in my own entire life. They're great dogs, but that's not the point. They banned an entire species, which is like a weapons ban or whatever. It makes no sense. It's the owner. But what they did make legal was bestiality. So you can't have a pit bull, but you can have sex with your Springer Spaniel. It's no longer illegal. And then on the same day, a friend of mine has a YouTube channel called Call for an Uprising. He's followed this extensively. Now, the Church of Satan has weaseled their way into school, and they're going to be giving Satan after school classes 10 years old and up. And what they used was the law. If you don't let us teach your kids Satanism, we'll sue your school, put them under, because nobody can afford a lawsuit like that. Now, I just went to the new headquarters according to them, the Satan headquarters is now in Salem, Massachusetts. I walked right in with a video camera, and they just couldn't stop explaining it's atheism. We don't believe in Satan. We just have a 9-foot-tall, 3,000-pound bronze statue of Baphomet holding 2 children with a goat's head, as above, so below, and then everything in the building was the most disgusting, sexually explicit, unbelievably disgusting stuff ever, and that's what they believe in. And these are the same guys that are going to school to teach children. Yep. It is. I couldn't even show it, Anthony. Not even for 1 million likes. It doesn't matter. I couldn't show it because it was disgusting. Yep. And that's what's going on right now. Yep. And people can't seem to stop it.
Remember the phrase? It's all about the children.
Right.
And no child left behind.
Right. Well, it's really, you're right. You're right. You're right. It's all coming to fruition, and everything they need to do to make everything legal is done. It's just done, so.
Are there any
Yeah, the question related to that, both homeless and children.
One at a time. Oh, is that it?
Those two groups.
So people are asking, just say it again.
If you know what's the cause of that.
Say the question.
I didn't catch the whole thing.
That's okay. I get the gist of it.
All right. I didn't hear it. I'm just an idiot. Go ahead.
Yeah, literally hundreds of thousands of kids every year disappear. Most of these are sacrificed. Most of these kids, they are sacrificed to Satan. This is the worship of Lucifer, to be blunt about it. The other is the slave trade. You know what I mean by that. So these kids are disappearing underground. They're disappearing to other countries. But the majority of them are being sacrificed. They're being killed in rituals.
That's horrible. It's horrible because I watch the things like the cremation of care and all that other stuff. What gets snuck in or out is irrelevant because you know that these guys aren't going through all these great pains. They didn't do an 8 million pound Gothic tunnel ceremony with all that extravagance and then fly in all those dignitaries and then not sacrifice somebody for real. I believe that in my heart. When I saw that ritual myself, I was telling you this morning, my heart fell.
Yep.
Because what I saw was them saying, okay, here we are, here it comes. If you can figure this out, this is what's coming. And all I saw was CERN opening the pit. And that was easy because they showed CERN
projection screen
opening the pit. Like, this is it. These guys, I don't know if they're blinded or they're drunk with power, but at some point, this is Richie from Boston. This is what I think. These guys have sold their souls for power, authority, money, wealth, whatever you want to call it. And at the end of
the promise of
immortality, and before they have to pay up with their souls, they're going to try to transfer it into a fake body and cheat death. Because because who would ride this train off tracks like this?
Yeah. They believe that they are going to cheat death and cheat God's judgment through their technology. That's what's driving all of them.
And it makes sense because that's exactly what it appears they're going to do. It seems like us ridiculous conspiracy theorists sitting over here that are just simply decoding or reading what they're writing can see that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It says right in the Bible it won't work.
That's right.
And if you really look at the Bible now and look around, it coalesces. It works.
It really does.
You know what I mean?
It all pulls together.
It's unbelievable.
Any other questions?
The plan and then other effect belongs to models.
In terms of, yeah.
That's the one that
Well, we can talk a little more about the Mandela effect itself.
It's a big one. On YouTube. It's a big one. So
this is a psychological operation. It's for the purpose of machine learning for the adiabatic quantum computers.
all right, real quick, because people just heard you say psychological operation, they just stopped listening because they're like, he doesn't think it's real. It is a psychological operation, but correct?
It is.
Because some people think CERN is a Mandela effect because they don't remember it, so they don't think it was real. I do happen to remember it, so I can vouch. But if that's not real, then you're not real.
Right.
So go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's a psychological operation in the sense that it is real. These are actual physical changes in our reality. And we discussed this in my book, Revising Reality. But the deal here is that when Gordy Rose talks about extracting resources from parallel dimensions, 2 to the 500th power, it's now considerably more, and that's what I talk about in my presentation tomorrow. But if they're extracting resources and energy from other dimensions, then that pollutes our dimension, our reality. What we are seeing in the physical changes as the Mandela effect are those changes caused by energy and resources, specifically information, from other dimensions that are coming in and affecting this dimension. That's the leading edge. This is the hint. This is the tip of the iceberg of the changes that will radically occur in this reality. I call it the analog. Some people want to call it the matrix, that's fine. But I'm just saying this is an analog reality that we have, and the digital reality that is coming through from other dimensions is altering our analog reality into an augmented digital reality. And so what we are seeing are these physical changes because of the interdimensional functionality of D-Wave's adiabatic quantum computers, which, as we said, will be controlling the opening of this portal. If it is not controlled at a quantum level, which is where it starts, the portal begins to open at the quantum scale. Then, as Stephen Hawking describes the opening of the portal becoming a vacuum that at the speed of light envelops not only the Earth, but the entire universe. Now, he's a lot smarter than I am, and if that's the scenario that he's painting out, we don't want any more of this interdimensional activity to take place. But unfortunately, it's going to, because they will be successful, as Scripture indicates. This is God's judgment. This is God's plan. He's allowing the Mandela effect, the quantum pollution, to take place. And we apply it as Christians as a warning device, as a witnessing tool to say, look, the Mandela effect is real, it's tangible, it's physical, it's right in front of your face. So use it as a tool to say to people, these are the end times. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's how it relates to all the things that we're talking about, this Mandela effect.
Right. No, it's if you're going to repeat anything, at least it's that, not a bad joke or something. How's that? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Another question.
Did the Mandela effect start when the portal began?
Well, the main portal, what I call and describe as the freeway, because of the amount of energy and information that will be coming through, demonic entities that will be coming through, as described in Revelation 9, that are literally going to scare people to death at the beholding the sight of these
men's hearts will fail with fear. Yep.
That's right. That portal has not opened yet. But the smaller interdimensional portals that are open to spiritual rituals on a one-to-one basis has been going on throughout eons. But the opening of interdimensional portals to the level of 2 to the 500th power is happening real time, 24/7, has been going on for years, and will continue. And it is also functioning as what is called, you may have seen some of my videos, the sentient world simulation. This is a digital representation of the entire planet and all the inhabitants. D-Waves adiabatic computers, quantum computers operating interdimensionally, are what are controlling this matrix, literally. It is called the sentient world simulation, and it assigns a node to every single person on the planet and gives them an avatar. And so every person on the planet, real time, is monitored and tracked by a quantum computer system.
That just pisses me off personally.
I agree.
The fact that they even have a simulated node, and that's all we are. We're just nodes. You know what I mean? These guys play with us like it's just a little chessboard, no big deal. We're all in the way. We were helpful when we were building things and helping assembling this great mechanism, but now they don't need us anymore.
No, they don't. And this is the mark of the beast system. This is the infrastructure. We talk about nanoparticles, but the entire system in Scripture talks about it. Unless you take the mark of the beast, you won't be able to buy or sell. You have to have an infrastructure to control people, to control their ability to buy and sell, to track people. It is in place. Purdue University in 2006 published their white paper on this, their draft. I put this out in my presentation in the PowerPoint yesterday. And 2007, they implemented the sentient world simulation. So this has been running since then. And the development of that simulation has tracked lockstep with every advancing model number of D-Waves computers. That's why it was built. There are other reasons, including the portal, but that's one of the main applications, because you cannot create a simulated environment for the entire planet and its inhabitants unless you have a computer system that has, at the time that the Model 512 came out, okay, had the equivalent processing power of over 7 billion human brains. They've moved from the 512 model to the 1024 that came out last year, and now to the 2048, which they announced just last week. They will have a computer that contains 2,000 qubits. The actual number is 2048. There's another number that they have not discussed, which is 4096. And I'll let you mathematicians figure out what the next one is,
right,
and the ramifications of that, and what I released yesterday that got us.
I was just going to give you a little high side, not to ruin the.
Yeah.
At any rate.
That's
right. Well, we have a dinner to go to in a half an hour, correct?
Yeah,
in the speaker's dinner. I don't want you to be late for that, but this is phenomenal. We've been over 300 viewers the entire time, so that's awesome. The simulated world system, the Purdue papers, the link to that is in the last video that we did with Anthony Patch, questions and answers. You guys can find that. And I'll leave links in this video later on. Before we take off, I want to take a look at Brother Ken's video, his laptop real quick. I'll give you guys some shout outs and we will get back up here live. Maybe one more time tonight or maybe tomorrow, one of the two. But after Anthony lets the cat out of the bag, Schrodinger's cat out of whichever bag, if the cat's even there, it's hard to tell at this point because they really are revising reality. Brother Ken, who do we get in the chat, bro? Spin it around. Let me take it. I don't want to rip your cords up. Hold on. This isn't a high dollar. There we go. Oh, this is nice. All right, we got LL Blossom, Michael Combs, Mimi Praise, of course, Peter Stippens, Judy L, Judy 1771, making 3 copies. Thank you, Panda. Ryan in NC, I'm close to you right now. Sunrise Skywatcher, Justin in Buffalo, Nicholson 1968 watching.
Yeah.
Hey, Nicholson, Enter the who? End Times Matrix.
Hey, Tim and Chris at End Times Matrix, I'm still alive.
Yep, so far we're trying to keep them that way, and everybody's name's up on the big board. Steve Olson. Yep. Steve Olson, Johnny O. End Time, no problems. End Times, and Jody and Tommy. This is flying, huh? You guys could give me some more thumbs up. I mean, seriously, I'm sitting in the Marriott Knoxville with Anthony Patch. You're killing me. All right, guys, we got to go. This is Richie from Boston. Brother Ken has been moderating for us. He made this all possible. Nicholson 1968 and Anthony Patch. So, again, if the creek don't rise and the good Lord's willing, we'll be back.
Doesn't swallow the
That's
hotel.
it. That's it. All right, guys, Richie from Boston, and we are out.